Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. I am Alma, Salsa, and Yacub, who wants to explain about different classroom layout in an offline and online classroom. Well, firstly, we want to discuss about what is layout. Here, layout is the way in which the part of something are arranged or laid out, which in this case is related to the layout of the tables, also the chair in the classroom. Then now it's about types of classroom. Firstly, it's about offline classroom. Offline classroom is the conventional classroom that's surrounded by walls and provide protection from outside noise and interference, which contributing to a more effective learning process. In contrast, online classroom is a virtual classroom, which in the other hand, it is a system that provides the same opportunities for the teaching and learning process. Beyond the physical limits of the traditional classroom walls, which is use of computer communication networks. Move to the next slide. It is talk about the design of online classroom. First is semicircle U. This kind of classroom are created to able for the learner to make an eye contact with the teacher and also communicate with each other. The second type is type U. This kind of arrangement can be more informal, but still any desk space, and the variation is the weighting of the angle of the arm. And then the third type is one large table. This is pull the table together in order to become a large table, and then the learner sits in around it. This kind of arrangement allows the students to communicate with each other.
Zones. A line of setup fronts facing the board all around the back of the room. This kind of arrangement aims to share an open discussion or mingling area in the middle. Students also have their ability to move around depending on what they need to do. Full circle. It is democratic arrangement that allows all the learners to see everyone else. Rectangular. Arrange a row of desks and sit around all four edges of the room, or closer in with providing space to walk behind the seats. Curved rows. Rather than the typical straight line rows, try curving the lines a little, perhaps facing a long wall of the room. A row hat. A shape made up of diagonal rows with a row pointing to the back of the class. It allows more eye contact and also opens the space in front of the room in order to make students easier to come up and perform. Diagonal. Keep the traditional row but angle them a little, so they leave a large diagonal space in one corner at the front. Reverse. If there is enough space in your room, try to put the tables behind the chairs. This means that students can face you without intervening barrier. No tables. Working groups without any tables, you'll find that this frees up a lot of space in the room, which you can exploit for speaking activities, games, simulations, and so on. Facing. Turn the desks to each other rather than all facing the front.
Online classroom. Online classroom is basically different with the conventional classroom. Tiffin and Raja Singham in 1995 tell that the conventional classroom is surrounded by walls that provides protection from outside noise and interference, contributing to a more effective learning process. But now online classroom is using a virtual classroom. Virtual classroom is a system that provides the same opportunities for the teaching and learning process, but beyond the physical limits of the traditional classroom walls, thanks to the use of computer communication networks that help us in this pandemic situation. So, before we conduct the virtual or online classroom, we have to lay out our class. So, here are 5 tips to lay out your online classroom. The first one is assess their needs and necessary conditions in order to satisfy them. The main purpose of this step is to assure the existence of a need for the proposed virtual classroom and the basic infrastructure to develop it. By assessing what is and what ought to be, you have assessed the need and figured out a gap to bridge by Hamza and Al-Halabi in 1999. Number two is plan the virtual classroom. There are 4 points for you to plan your virtual classroom or your online classroom. The first one is ensuring that all students and teachers have equal access to instruction and receive all instructional material on time. Second, providing students with on-time, continuous, and frequent feedback opportunities to assess their understanding and skill of subject matters. And third, supplementing theory with a variety of practical tutorials and activities. And fourth, increasing student-to-student and student-to-instructor interaction in and outside lectures. Number three, enable communication. There are two types of communication, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is a learning happens in real time. This means that you, your classmates, and your instructor interact in a specific virtual place at a set time. In these courses, instructors commonly take attendance, same as they would in a lecture hall. Common methods of synchronous online learning include video conferencing, teleconferencing, live chatting, and live streamed lectures that must be viewed in real time. In asynchronous, learning happens on your schedule. While your course of study, instructor, or program will provide materials for reading, lecture for viewing, assignment for completing, and exam for evaluation, you can access and satisfy this requirement on your own schedule. So, so long as you meet the expected deadlines. Common methods of asynchronous online learning include self-guided lesson models, pre-recorded video content, virtual libraries, lecture notes, and online discussion boards or social media platform. Number 4. Implemented class management procedure. It is natural to expect a computer-based virtual classroom to have some automatic tools to make this task easier. In fact, many tools such as WebCity include class management modules. Number 5. Maintain and update the virtual classroom. Creating a virtual classroom demands a lot of work, but that is just the beginning. As with any other computer-based information system, the virtual classroom requires maintenance and frequent updates to retain its usefulness.
So that's our explanation about classroom layout. Thank you for your attention.